you climb out of the pit of being overwhelmed. When you are hanging by a thread of emotional sanity, is there a way out? Yes, there is. Otherwise, we would not be having this chat, because I'd be off crying in a corner somewheres. Everyone starts out by thinking that they can handle it. Soon, your head and your heart begin the very familiar argument that inevitably happens on your way to getting overwhelmed. As you take on more and more responsibility, your heart is like, the pressure's really mounting, guys. And your head is like, just calm down and don't make a scene like you did last time, okay? What do you mean like last time? Last time, you were making some crazy statements like, can't do this, it's too hard. Well, at least I wasn't crying like a baby and binge watching Prison Break. And then it happens. The pressure mounts. One more thing gets added to your already full plate that you agreed to, let's not forget. And suddenly you find yourself completely overwhelmed. What do? There have definitely been some times in my life that I've been very overwhelmed. This one time, I had a week that was completely insane. I'm helping my boys with their homework. My eldest son is in grade 4, my youngest son is in grade 1. And homework really escalates, like it sneaks up on you. Especially for my younger son, I was really involved and had to do a lot of extra work. I'm trying to keep on top of the house. I'm trying to keep on top of my ministry responsibilities. I'm trying to make preparations for our women's event that's coming up next year. The laundry monster was plotting my downfall in the corner of my bedroom. And my head and my heart, who once had been in polite discussion, had now escalated to a full-on argument. And then 2 situations happened in quick succession. I was overwhelmed, guys. My head was like, why do you keep doing this to us? My heart was like, you don't know how I feel. It was a moment. And in that moment, I had a choice. Yes, this sounds melodramatic because it is. I live in LA. I'm allowed to be melodramatic. I knew I was in a dangerous spot. Why? What you tell yourself about yourself can come true if you don't keep a tight rein on your thoughts. One scripture that helped me out during this time was in 2 Corinthians 1, 8 and 9. And it talks about how Paul felt. He was under so much pressure, he felt like I'm gonna die. But he recognized that it all happened so that he would rely on God and not on himself. Paul talks about being under so much pressure, he felt like he would die. Instead of following those thoughts to conclusion, he pulls up. He acknowledges that the pressure, the act of being overwhelmed, the stretching of learning and enduring, the pain of all of these experiences that we can go through happens so that we remember to rely on God who raises the dead and not on ourselves. If he can raise the dead, he can get you through the pressure. The scripture helps me so much because when I feel pressure, number 1, I'm not designed to rely on myself and carry my burdens on my own. Number 2, God has the power to allow me to thrive under pressure and not be crushed. Number 3, blaming others as a source of my pain when I am overwhelmed leads to a lack of belief in the fact that God works through all things and nothing is outside his control. Jesus said we'll do even greater things if we have faith in him and if we hold to his teachings. Another scripture that helps me out is 2 Corinthians 10 verse 5. It says we demolish every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. And we take captive every thought and make it obedient to Christ. Sometimes our thoughts are our friends, but sometimes our thoughts can be our worst enemies. Maybe in the height of your feelings of being overwhelmed, thoughts like I'm having a nervous breakdown, or maybe I can't do this, or I don't want to do this anymore. When this happens, and it happens to all of us, make no mistake, the difference comes from what you will do when these thoughts arise. Not that they're in your head, but what you're gonna do with them. Do you make your thoughts and your feelings obey Christ? Or do you allow them to rule over you? Sure enough, when I read these scriptures, I have a talk with myself. I acknowledge that something is wrong, yes. I acknowledge that I feel a certain way, but then I go to the scriptures and apply them and make my thoughts obedient to them. I remind myself that God has brought me this far. Being a mature disciple means being able to parent your emotions with the scriptures and not allowing them to run rampant because they are not always in possession of the facts. This is especially important when you feel overwhelmed. It's like when you see a kid in a grocery store that's having a temper tantrum. You always think to yourself, I would never let my kid do that. But the same thing can happen with our emotions. We let our emotions have temper tantrums and run wild. Or we see other people in the middle of letting their emotions run wild and we go, I would never do that. And then you find yourself in that situation and you're like, how do I get out of this? There's always a way out if you fix your eyes on Christ. If this video has helped you, please feel free to like it. Please feel free to share it. If you want a deeper Bible study or you want to hear more on a particular topic, please reach out to me, come to church with me, let's study the Bible. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.